And that is a wrap for week one of West Virginia football. The long awaited return of Rich Rod is finally in the books, and Robert Morris gets the ass whooping that we all expected. No shock, but tons to talk about, Noah. The good, the bad, the ugly. And of course, before we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button to enter the giveaway at 500 subscribers for the 3 items we're raffling off. Don Nealon, Major Harris signed photograph, Bob Huggins signed photograph, and then a Zach Frazier gold West Virginia cap. Raffling those off at 500 subscribers. Been getting tons of views. Appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. Let's get right into this, Noah. And let's go ahead and just start with the ugly, because it's all everybody's going to make a big deal about the fumbles, okay? The fumbles specifically in the first half. Here's my takeaway of it before I give it to you. Yes, it's bad. It can't happen again. If you have 4 fumbles back to back to back, or 3, whatever it was, you're going to lose a lot of games. But guess what? Let's all take a deep breath. We played Robert Morris. Okay? Yes, it's ugly. I'm not justifying it. Nothing like that. I completely understand the, oh my gosh, fumble, ball security, yada, yada, yada. They're nervous. A lot of new faces at the Power 4 level. A lot of expectation today. Just a lot of excitement. Let's relax. It didn't affect today. It will later on. I'm not thinking that this is a big issue. What's your takeaway? Because that's all anybody's going to say negative. Well, it was 10-3 at half. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the fumbles can't happen again, Gage. But I mean, these guys know how to play football. Each player, Cam Bond has a presser after the game, and he talks about it's next play mentality. They know as a team, as a unit, they can't do that. Rich Rod kind of hit on it in his presser, saying that. Maybe we should have did a little bit more contact in practice. And I don't really think it was in that sense. I think it's more jitters. You're trying to make your play for your team. Everybody had a lot to prove today. Outside of the quarterback controversy and everything, everybody was trying to prove, hey, they deserve to be on this field. And I think that's where a lot of this came from. First game jitters, like we both know this can't happen. But I do think there are things that are more concerning than fumbles, Gage. I'll toss it back to you just to hear, you kind of said like you had some things that we were concerned about. Let me hear yours.
As far as what? But just like the ugly?
Yeah, just like your concerns, you kind of said, that after watching the game, you saw the fumbles, but there were things that you might be a little bit more concerned about.
I think, and it's not necessarily like I'm concerned about it. It was just when you're playing a team like Robert Morris, I was kind of expecting a little bit more of some chunk plays, if that makes sense, which I'm obviously completely fine with the offensive performance. They scored 45 points a day after only scoring 10 in the first half, right? So this is not a knock on the offense. And it's not a concern really either. It's just, and kind of Rich Rod talked about it, right? Hey, I got to go back, watch Jaheim, figure out why he didn't have those big plays. They'll come. I'm not worried about that. That was one thing that kind of caught my eye. I don't know if it caught your eye while we were watching, but something, not a concern, that did catch my eye, Noah. Was there really a quarterback battle going on? Because Nico looked very, very, very comfortable in this QB1 role. And you and I talked about it. The biggest loser from today and the biggest loser from all those fumbles was Jalen Henderson. And this isn't saying that Henderson should have played over Nico after what we just saw. I'm just saying from a coaching standpoint, you can't switch up quarterbacks when you're only going into the third quarter up 10-3. Nico's your guy. You're rolling with him. We saw Henderson get in late and then Scotty and then everybody else. But it's just, man, I thought Henderson was kind of in the shadow there today because of those mistakes. But my goodness, Noah, did we like what we saw from Nico today? There's a lot of things to start with. I know I'll let you talk about the deep ball to Vaughn. I want to talk about kind of the first drive they had where they scored. You and I talked about it. It was making the right read every play leading up to a lot of options, right? Handoff, handoff, handoff. Then they get down into the red zone. Here it comes again. Option, or it's actually the fake sweep, QB option, right? Fakes the sweep. Touchdown. And I'm like, man, I mean, it's once again, it's Robert Morris, but you just see these things. You can tell he kind of has a little bit of a, hey, I've been here before. I've played my college games before. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, Gage. Nico, you couldn't ask for a better performance out of Nico today. Outside of the fumbles, things of that nature for the offenses in general, he seemed cool, calm, collected every time he took the field again. The moment was never too big. You didn't see panic sit in on him. And I think that speaks a little bit even into the defense, that he trusts his defense to go out there and get him the ball back, right? Just Nico as a leader today. And then, 17 for 20 passing. I think he's 225 yards, right around that mark. Maybe a little bit less or a little bit more than that.
Oh, yeah, 224 and a touchdown. Yep.
Yep. 224 and a tutty. So, whenever you look at his stats, the question is, though, Gage, kind of like you hit on, we didn't get to see Henderson. Was there a quarterback competition? Only person that knows that is Rich and Rhett Rodriguez. And just the offensive staff there, we will never be for sure. But I'll be damn sure you can't go into next week questioning anything when you had a performance like that out of your quarterback one, right? So, like, if Nico has to keep on getting it, has the hot hand, he did very well. He performed at a high level, and I think he kind of solidified it. It's now his job to lose, Gage. I don't want to go and speak for Rich Rodriguez because he knows plenty more about football than I ever will, right? But I do think he solidified that QB1 job. Even in the presser, Rich Rod did, go on to say that he did look the most consistent, during the spring, during the summer, during the fall camp. He looked like he came out, you knew what you were going to get from him. And I think that's why you kind of seen them stick with Nico even throughout, the halfway through the third quarter whenever the game was a little bit tighter.
And not to jump the gun a little bit, already talking about Ohio, we'll obviously have our week 2 kind of preview for that game. But Ohio played Rutgers pretty tough, Noah, and we've talked about you kind of have to have some things figured out going into that game or it could get kind of tricky. And I think a lot of people who kind of kept up with week 1, but those Thursday night games specifically kind of realized, okay, like Ohio has some juice here. Like they're not to be taken lightly. And I think if anything today, what you just said, it is currently Nico's job to lose. And it's just, we didn't get to see Henderson. And you can't go into this game versus Ohio thinking, okay, well, we didn't get to necessarily debut Henderson like we wanted to and see what we get. Nico, you have first half. Here comes Henderson in the second. Not after what we saw today. The deep ball, we knew he was a gifted passer, right? We talked about that in that all-22 film with that kind of bird's eye view. Gifted passer, and it kind of showed Cam Vaughn making the Willie Mays Hayes, I think that was the baseball guy, over the head, kind of tilted back, catching it like that. Beautiful catch. I was really pleased with what I saw from the wide receiver room today, and kind of, I don't want to say minimal because they ran the ball a ton, but just from what we saw, Cam Vaughn looks like that explosive, kind of twitchy playmaker we've been missing on the outside. We knew what we were getting in him. We knew he was the X receiver, and man, did he turn it up today, right? 7 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown, of course, on that long ball. But even Jaden Bray on a quiet 3 catches, 26 yards, he had a big catch there in the first half. And it kind of like, not comparing him to D-Hop, no, but you and I were talking about it. He's just so strong with his hands, right? He's able to just point the ball wherever he wants it, corral it, bring it in. He's so sure-handed. And I know Rich Rod is going to have, in his mind, I would have to imagine, hey, I got to find out how to get this guy the ball a little bit more. Because I'm so high on Jaden Bray, man. And I was really happy to see he is a staple of this offense at that wide receiver 2 spot. We saw a lot of rotation at that wide receiver 3. Singleton, little bit of Gallagher, just a little bit of everything there. Justin Smith, he fumbled some, all that. But yeah, Jaden Bray seemed like a staple in this offense.
Yeah, Gage, I think the receiver position is something that you're going to have a lot of guys mixed into places, especially that receiver 3 spot. But I think everybody on that offensive staff kind of knows, Bray and Cam Vaughn are going to be, your critical guys that you need in on downs. Cam Vaughn, it was just exhilarating to see a guy that can get the ball and make a play after the catch. I feel like that is something we've been missing for a long, long time at West Virginia. And he was catching little spot routes. And granted, we know this game is against Robert Morris. I don't know how many times we'll say that over this video, but just little catches that he's making. He's turning the play Cam Vaughn did fumble on. He literally hurdles a guy, right? It's like all the good and then you get the bad, right? And that happens sometimes. But yeah, he literally hurdles a guy to get an extra 3 or 4 yards. Just an athlete. I was really surprised to say, I didn't actually know this, that Cam Vaughn was a high school quarterback. And Rich Rod recruits him to Jacksonville State. And it lasted about an hour, and he told him, hey, look, you're probably going to play receiver here because you're that much of an athlete. I think it will really help him finding, places where to settle down in zones, understand his leverage, whether they're playing man, so on and so forth. Him and Nico can keep that connection strong there because I think there's something brewing between those two guys. If he can keep that connection strong, Cam Vaughn's going to have one hell of a year in the Big 12, Gage.
Yeah, it looks good. And it seems like he's obviously going to be the guy that's going to be getting a bulk of the catches, right? I think he's going to be a heavy volume guy in terms of that short yardage, kind of right at the line of scrimmage, RPO, screen, whatever sort it is. Two other guys, of course, we have to mention, Noah, potentially three. It's so easy to sit here and talk about Cam Vaughn and all these guys that we can skip over Jaheim White, our number one RB. Obviously, glad to see the things that he did today. 2 touchdowns on the day, 18 carries, 93 yards. What can we say, man? This guy's special, man. I'm preaching to the choir. I don't need to say anything more. I mean, there was kind of what Rich Rod said, the lack of big play right there, but I'm not concerned about that. Just what did you see today from Jaheim that makes you say, yeah, I mean, this is one of the best running backs in the Big 12?
It was definitely that one of the first plays early in the game. He gets hit kind of like at the line of scrimmage, gets kind of stood up, bounces back, gets his hand on the ground, and keeps going. Nico actually throws a block. You and I were kind of going hype for Nico throwing a little block there to get to free up a little bit of a bounce of play. I think that might have been one of his longest rushes of the day. But man, he just has such good contact balance. And from a smaller back, you don't usually see, yards after contact being crazy because he's kind of like a scat back. In the NFL perspective because he's a little bit of a smaller back. But I mean, he just gets the job done every time. He runs tough, he runs physical, and like you said, we didn't get to see that big play today, but you can just know that big play potential is written all over this guy, Gage. I would put a lot of things up to say that he will have 4 to 5 touchdowns over 50 yards this year. I really think he will.
That's a fair take to say. And one thing I noticed today, Noah, he didn't have any catches. Not a lot of work in the receiving game, maybe just due to the scheme. Obviously, they got up big and stuff like that. But will be interesting, something to monitor. I'll definitely make sure to write that down heading into the Ohio. See if he gets a little bit more involved in the passing game. Let's talk RB2 and RB3. Clay Ash, Noah, the RB2 in terms of guys coming in the game. 5 carries, 23 yards, a hard 23 yards at that. Very physical runner. You kind of made the comment of maybe he's the complement back to Jaheim, right? Maybe he's the in-between tackle guy that you need when it's 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1, and Jaheim needs a little rest, things like that. So that was kind of a bigger story that I thought in week 1. And then Sincere Bowers comes in late in the second half there, really when Henderson kind of came in as well. And you can just tell, bro, that speed and acceleration that he has is different. When you can vividly see it on TV, you know it's different in person.
Yeah, Gage. I think there's going to be a lot of questions, and we even saw Ty Edwards late in the game. I think it might have been our last possession. We seen Ty Edwards get in the game. I think it was with Khalil Wilkins. I think that was who was in the game with him. But just, I think because the way the running back room kind of shaped up, we had some injuries. There's a lot of answers that we have in the running back room, right? We know Jaheim White's going to be a guy, but that 2 through 4 spot, I think you could see a lot of different guys and kind of go week by week on what running back fits better, in the scheme you're trying to run against the other team. Because all the backs, I mean, obviously, you can't really tell much because Jaheim had a lot of the carries, but all the backs that got in the game, they seemed to do their job, right? Everybody knows that, Jaheim is an electric back. If he was to happen to need, a couple series off, Sincere looks like he could hop right in and kind of be that electric guy. Ash seemed like he was kind of more like that short yardage, and I believe Ty Edwards, I think you have 2 guys at each one of those roles that we're going to be able to play in the running back room.
Yes, I agree. Let's flip over to defense. And kind of the key thing to just say about this unit as a whole today is they are physical. This is a physical defense. This is not a Neil Brown defense. This is not a Jordan Leslie-led defense. This is not, hey, let's play conservative and just try not to give up, enough points. No, this is aggressive defensive football, and I like it. I thought our linebackers played tremendous today. All around, I thought the defensive line played well. Once again, last time I'm going to say it, we understand it's Robert Morris. We're not overhyping. We're just saying what we see in terms of player evaluation. I thought defensive line looked good in terms of the run game. I thought linebackers looked good in terms of the run game. And then, of course, I thought the secondary played well. And like you said, I'll let you talk about it. I think we got a little bit of an idea of what this scheme is going to look like under Zach Alley.
Yeah, Gage, whenever you look at, I mean, you're going to bring a lot of pressure, right? You're going to not let that quarterback get comfortable. You're going to stuff the run, make a quarterback beat you. And when the quarterback's going to try to beat you, he's going to have seven guys in his face. That is what he's do. He's going to live. We kind of made this comment early in the summer, Gage, but he's a gambler, right? You want to take this guy to Vegas with you. Simple as that. When you look at him, when it's third down, and I think it was 3rd and 8 today, there's seven guys back there, and he just sent the house. He said, "Look, block us all. You can't." Was very interesting to hear in the press conference too, Gage. Rich Rod's kind of talking about it. He said defense was kind of vanilla today. Didn't really show too much. That's very interesting to me. Whenever I'm seeing, obviously, I haven't watched every Zach Alley down ever he's ever coached football, but I seen a lot more blitzes today than I had in the past couple years, and that makes me kind of thrilled to know that, hey, we didn't want to put too much on film, and we just held our opponent to 3 points. So really, really excited to see what Zach Alley has brewed on the defense.
Scary to think that there might be more in the tank after what we saw today. Before we continue with defense, we completely forgot to talk about Rich Rod and the tempo on offense. So real quick, we'll hit on it. Basically, all you need to know is the tempo of this offense is so fast that if your starting running back loses his shoe, it doesn't matter because you're getting on the ball and doing a QB sneak on 3rd and 1 to get the first down. Jaheim White's shoe flies off on a run. Doesn't matter. He's holding the shoe in his arm and pushing Nico in the back to get the first down. That is all that needs to be said. It just basically summed up the tempo of this offense. We all knew about it, how blazing quick it is, things like that. Just thought that was hilarious and just pinpoint. That's how you play Rich Rod football. Yeah, man. I mean, you said it best, right? Obviously, as the season progresses, we're going to see better offenses starting next week. What makes me feel very confident about this defense is to me and what I watched, it looked like they can get it done in a lot of different ways. And when I say that, it looks like if they're blitzing heavily, it looks like it will have success. We can have success around a blitz heavy defense. But I also saw some times where it's like, hey, we're only sending 3, we're only sending maybe 4, we're dropping back and maybe a cover 6 or something like that. And we can play this defense where we can sit back, read the quarterback, and make a play on the ball when it's in the air, right? I thought that was kind of the thing I saw from the secondary. A lot of dropbacks from the QB, ball in the air, pursuit was really good. And at the point of impact, receiver catching the ball, somebody's right there making the play. I thought that really stood out to me on the defensive side of the ball. Anything else on the defense, Noah? I know, like I said, this isn't necessarily going to be a crazy long video, but
I mean, when you let up 100 yards defensively, right, there's not much to say other than you dominated the football game, Gage. I think they went for like 30 rushing yards, 70 passing yards. I was just glad to see, and go back, I hate to keep on bringing up the past, but I've made the comment to you while we're watching the game together. It's like, I was so glad to not see us get, a bomb thrown over our heads, because last year I felt like our defense would get a couple plays in and you think you're going to buckle down finally, and there goes the shot over your head. Like, oh my gosh. Was so glad to see that didn't happen today. It just shows that I think the players on the defensive side of the ball are just buying into what Zach Alley has for them.
Keys on this, man, but as we wrap this video up, keys on this game, you obviously take away, hey, ball security is key. Rich Rod says when the ball is in your hand, the program is in your hand, okay? We know that's going to get cleaned up, probably effective immediately. Those guys will be running up the hill or doing something with the ball in their hands. It's like, and it's typical. It seems like some typical Rich Rod stuff. I don't think it's an issue. I understand. I think you said it best. Guys are trying to make a play, get their extra yards, make an impression. Sometimes you do a little bit too much. You get penalized for it. I understand. So let's do real quick. Offensive player of the game, defensive player of the game. I'll let you go first on the offensive side, and then I'll give you mine.
I'll say offensive side of the football. I'm going to go ahead and go.
It could be anything too. I was about to say it doesn't have to be chalk. You can do anything.
Yeah, I'll just go Cam Vaughn, just in the sense that 7 receptions, 100 plus receiving yards, and a touchdown, and just I think to cap off the day, that catch over his shoulder, like you said, over his head, looking fine and locating the ball. He screams, what I've wanted in a receiver at West Virginia for so long. I just can't not give him the player of the game offensively for me, Gage. Who do you have?
Well, it's actually going to be your guy. And I think it'd be a disservice to not mention this guy in the video, if maybe we already did. if you're a quarterback and you're going to truck somebody on your way to the touchdown, you can get my offensive player of the game. I'm going Scotty Fox, Noah. I liked what I saw today, honestly. I thought it was a nice, just little brief showing. You've been banging the drum for this guy. We finally got to see just a little tiny bit, and I was like, okay. We saw Byron Brown Thursday night, USF versus Boise State. These physical running quarterbacks that just go out of their way to truck people. I love it. So he's got my player of the game on the offensive side. Defense, Noah, I was talking about that defensive line, so I'm going to give my praise there. Give me Hamad Russell, 2.5 TFLs today, 2 sacks, 4 total tackles. I thought him, Eddie Kelly Jr., the transfer from Missouri, I believe, controlled the trenches on the defensive side of the ball from the start. And if those guys can play like that the entire season, our run game specifically is going to be miles ahead of what it was last year.
Yeah, I would kind of second you on that defensive opinion. I just kind of getting into Gage and I watching football. I'm looking there and I see Eddie Kelly and I'm like, dude, that guy's huge, Gage. You're like, yeah, he's huge. Like, that guy is a mountain of a man out there. And I think even when we see, go up against, power 4 opponents, he's still going to be one of the best size guys on the
6'5", 288 on ESPN. I mean, that's I have to check his West Virginia roster. Yeah, I mean, perfect fit for defensive tackle, that's for sure. So, yeah, man, obviously great showing. We know it's a weaker opponent. On to the next one. It's going to come up quick, man. Football is back. It's so nice. We're sitting here recording this. Clemson comes off a loss. We got Pac-12 after night, or after dark, I should say, the old Pac-12, all those teams. So it's awesome. This is the best time of year. The weather has fully cooperated with football season too. As soon as games started, that little breeze flipped on. And I was like, man, this is too nice. So, guys,
a question.
Yeah, let's go
before we get off here, just to see, because I kind of wanted to key into this, the other video, the video before we kind of previewed the game. What did you think about the offensive line? I know there were some penalties there, kind of some jitters. I think that was kind of concerning to me. What did you think about the offensive line play today?
Similar to the fumbles, guys a little bit antsy. Honestly, as far as false starts, I understand that's where Rich Rod kind of gets pissed off a little bit because that's a mental mistake, right? Holding, on the other hand, yes, sometimes it's a mental mistake, but holding most of the time is an aggressive penalty, right? It's like baseball. If you're an infielder and a ground ball is hit to you and you just sit there and wait for it to take its hops to you, more times than not, you're going to make an error. But if you are aggressive and you control it, more times than not, you're going to make the play. I look at offensive line play very similar. If you're the one engaging contact and pushing forward, sometimes you're going to get hit with a good move from a defensive end or a defensive tackle, and you're going to have to make up and cover your ass and maybe get a holding penalty. I'd rather have the aggressive penalties over the false starts where it seems more of like a mental shit. That snap was on 2 or shit. This, you know what I mean? That's more mental side, and that's false starts have to get cleaned up. Holding, it is what it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Gage, I'm going to say I thought, hole-wise for the running backs, the first initial hole was there a lot of the times. I mean, Jaheim White had almost 100 yards, almost broke 100 yards. Nico had a good game on the ground. So I think, actually moving people, I think they did a good job. We're obviously going to see some better defensive lines. But, with the penalties, it happens. Hopefully we got to get that fixed. But we got to remember, very young offensive line. I don't think outside of Walter Youngbear, we have 1,000 snaps on that offensive line. So these guys, this was a good game for the offensive line in the sense that we just got them snaps. We got them a little bit better. They're starting to get seasoned a little bit. By the 4th, 5th game of the year, we can't have these same things going on.
Yes. Hey, the honeymoon phase is over. Games are underway. There's no more ifs, ands, whats. It's all results, and you're in a win-loss business, and today you won the game. And that's all that matters. Very dominant win at that. That's all we can ask for. Your score prediction was closer. I had some people on my ass giving Robert Morris 14, which actually, watching the game after, I can understand. I probably fully deserve it. But 31 points kind of held strong there until halftime. Obviously, they turned it on, which we kind of snuck in a little halftime team total bet there because we knew what that ass chewing was in the locker room after all those fumbles. But guys, we appreciate you watching. This will be out obviously today as you're watching it on Sunday. Probably look for our Ohio week 2 preview, probably roughly around Wednesday. Once again, hit the subscribe button for the giveaway that we're doing, and we appreciate all the love and support. Make sure to leave your comment of what stood out most to you today. Was it the quarterback, kind of Nico just dominating? Was it Sincere Bowers, Jaheim? Let us know whatever you think stood out today, and we will see you in the next video, guys. Thank you very much.